How you feel?
Feel good.
Massive Great Mound on the River Rouge, located in what is now Detroit's Delray neighborhood. It is estimated that it originally measured 200 feet wide by 300 feet long, covering more than an acre and standing 40 feet tall, but it may have been much larger at one point. The significance of the Great Mound was it was considered a portal to the afterlife. Thousands of bodies found their final resting place within this mound.
This is for my homies. This is for my homies. Well, see you when I get.
Test this out. Now keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about bullshit.
How you walking in the future, but still forget your past. You looking for material, but that shit never lasts. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future, but still don't know your past. Why you always in fatigue? Cause I'm a one man army. My blood don't bleed, and these devils never harm me. I know the magnitude, so I live in gratitude. Negativity has no gravity. Wanna write me out existence. They wanna dilute my blood, strip me of my innocence, because they know who I was. Cognitive dissonance. Send this message through with love, cause I am the remnant. The ancestors knew I'd come. How you walking in the future, but still forget your past. You looking for material, but that shit never lasts. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future, but still don't know your past. Little boy in Ohio, smells of the fresh cut grass. Lord know what I know. Secrets of an ancient past. Descendants of the mound builders. They make sure that you didn't know that. Tried to say you were native, ooh, but you the ones that made it. Wanna write you out existence. They wanna dilute your blood, strip you of your innocence, because they know who you are. Cognitive dissonance. Send this message through with love, cause we are the remnants. The ancestors knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. Oh yeah. future, but still forget your past. You're looking for material, but that shit never lasts. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future, but still don't know your past.
How you feel?
Feel good.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Here with another video. This video is going to be about the full moon in Taurus that's taking place tonight. Just some metaphysical, cosmological, astrological observations done by myself in a format. Anyways, man, my name is Hood Mystic, also known as Kyrie Anthony. Go ahead and give me a follow on IG at the Hood Mystic. Website, hoodmystic.com, whiterabbitsite.com. This is brought to you by white.com because without it, we wouldn't be able to do these videos. So just want to thank everybody for their support and their love and their well wishes, and of course the likes on the video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so, as we are working hard to remain consistent in a busy world, have a lot of exciting informational educational content down the pipeline, so stay tuned for that. But with all that being said, man, let's get into this particular conversation, which is going to be centered around a full moon in sidereal Taurus. And I came to the overall title of this video, Turning Point, basically studying the information. And then I thought about it like, dang, that's Charlie Kirk's foundation, but I didn't ever really think about it until I was like all the way done with it. The thumbnail was actually the last part of the production process, which according to YouTubers, that's kind of like a faux pas where you're supposed to have your thumbnail and title first. Like the most exciting full moon in Taurus that the world has ever seen happening tonight, but I just more or less focus on the study and the consistency to, bring the people something succinct and also help you become more spiritually aware through the modality of astrology. So without further ado, let's get into the chart. It's still playing into this water sign grand trine, utilizing the power of emotions to really open things up for you. One would say that if you are focusing and fixating on the past, you're utilizing the power of negative emotions or dirty emotions. However, if you look at Jupiter on the cusp of Cancer, we're talking about the recreation of memories in the present tense based upon having an emotional palette based upon love. And if you are basing it on the past, you might be basing it off of hurt, triggers and traumas. And that girl that goes on the first date and she's like talking all of this stuff about what you ain't going to do and what ain't about to happen because her last boyfriend was a thug and she done with thugs. And it's like you ain't ready to start this new relationship, and vice versa. Not to be gender specific, but if you're ever in a relationship with somebody and that person is caught up on their ex, meaning that they're not present with you, you wouldn't dare say that they love you. So when you look at Jupiter and Cancer, is really talking about new love, even in old situations. But another way of looking at this is baptism or purification or cleansing rituals. So if you're going to do a banishing or a cleansing ritual, you're not going to be like, well, I need to have this special amount of dirt on this plate moving forward before I eat on it because I don't like having my dishes all the way clean. I don't like my rituals all the way purified. Well, part of this grand sign water trine have been ushering in a form of new energy, a form of new perspective. And when you're talking about the masses and the collective unconscious, there is a strong propensity to want to hold on to the past or to want to bring the old into the new or the dirt into the clean. And when we're trying to understand metaphysics in a way where it makes sense, the best way for metaphysics and spiritual concepts to make sense is when we let the past go. So part of this is I did a video not too long ago about the science of being rich, chapter 1 by Wallace D. Wattles. And in doing that study, John chapter 1 verse 1 came to mind. In the beginning was the word. So if you can create the word based upon how you want this to start, then you're able to enter into this new matrix in this new paradigm. From my observation, people are trying to, they got dirt on their dishes from 1975 and they don't want to clean it, right? But if you told your kids to wash dishes and it's the mac and cheese and it's big clumps of mac and cheese in the pot, what you going to tell them to do? Bring your black ass in here and come wash these dishes correctly. So when we are wondering about new emotional paradigms, which lead into everything that we want or everything that we expect, part of this energy that I'm observing is that it's requiring a new viewpoint. So with that being said, this full moon, which the sun still is going to be in sidereal Scorpio, as we'll see, representing water signs, representing a point of alchemy. So when we are trying to understand alchemy, we understand alchemy as transmuting negative energy into positive energy. So this is a very specific, succinct process. When we are trying to understand spirituality, astrology, religion, and cosmology, the overall premise or conclusion that one comes to before, during, or after is that you are going to win. You are going to succeed. And within these particular paradigms, there might be negative trials and tribulations, might be negative circumstances. Those negative circumstances might take a long time to resolve. But the overall gist is that you are going to win. through every opposition, through every square, through every negative position planet, the ultimate reality that one comes to is that you will definitely succeed, you will definitely win. So throughout this particular point in the cosmology, right, this is a center, but more of a critical point of change. One could even say this is a point in time in the cosmology that we are able to right our ship or take control of our lives. Now, we are bringing in astrology to introduce the concept of time and place. Because if you wanted to go to the grocery store, and every time you went to the grocery store, it was at 3 a.m. because you was a nocturnal person, and it was never open. Or you wanted to go to the club at 9 a.m. because you're a morning person, and every time you go to the club, it looked like a ghost town. But then all of a sudden, it was 12 o'clock and you was out and about, and you ride by that same location and it looked like the most happening place in the universe. Everybody is out there with their spiked chains and pink hair and skin tight jeans. A paradise of beauty. And you drove by this club every day and it always looked like a ghost town. It always looked empty because you always went by there at 9 a.m. Within this paradigm that we call Earth, timing is important. When introducing concepts such as manifestation, timing plays a part in it based upon our human condition. The reality of putting a seed into earth and it germinating and it cultivating and growing into something, it usually takes a long time. So when we're trying to come up with a visual for the sun in Scorpio, it is going to be a butterfly in a cocoon. And being in a cocoon, I'm sure the butterfly or the caterpillar is having a completely what the fuck did I just do moment. Because within the cocoon, the butterfly breaks down to pure liquid. And it goes back into vanishing, where the caterpillar must die to be alchemized into something that is superior, which is a butterfly. And these messages and this streamline is so active in the observation of this full moon, whereas you may be looking at things as a difficulty, but in reality, you're just in a cocoon. So when you begin to emerge from this cocoon and you reflect on the cocoon, you're going to look at it differently. When you were an adolescent, in the midst of adolescence, I'm sure you hated everybody around you, maybe even yourself. But when you became an adult and you reflected on said time as an adolescent, if you've had positive lessons, trials and tribulations, rites of passage, you would look on said adolescence as a time where you were probably more ignorant than you would have liked to be. But and if you look at it the same way, if you're still like mad about adolescence, then that's you not being able to wash your dishes. And then you eat that plate and it got old pork chop juice from last night, and you eating a salad, and you had some chocolate pudding on there that you didn't all the way wash off yet, and so it's a little bit of gooey, ooey chocolate pudding, and you about to put your spaghetti on top of it. Said no human being ever. If you have ever had a dirty plate, you took the time to take that plate and wash it clean. So when we're trying to be mature in our spiritual development, it's not a point of recollection and reflection in times of transformation. And we bring these topics, such as transformation, to the surface because we're reflecting on timing. And we only understand timing through the celestial formations. And throughout the study of celestial formations and timings, we come up with the concept of cosmology, which is the logical conclusion of the cosmos. So when we look at the chart, we can look at it from an astrology perspective, but we can also look at it from an astronomy perspective. What I've been doing in my astrology videos is I've gotten really into the fixed stars. When I get into the fixed stars, it directly connects me to the religion. It makes the religion make sense, to whereas I understand the religion in a way where it is psychological, is mental health. So once again, if you're going to deal with mental health without the context of God, you don't even have an origin for said mental health. You don't have a tether for mental health. So when you talk about it, it's like my mind, her mind, Charmaine's mind, Jermaine's mind. But in reality, when we get into the nuts and bolts of consciousness, we realize that it has a tether to the universal intelligence. The precessions of the equinox, the planetary movements. There is an intelligent design to the planetary movements because it's not random. Uranus just doesn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm tired of being in Taurus. I'm tired of being with Jermaine. I'm just going to deal with Michael because Michael got more money. I'm tired of dealing, the moon doesn't say, I'm tired of dealing with Charmaine. I'm going to go over to Scorpio right now. He look better. So when we're wondering how things work, and we're not understanding that there is an order to ourselves because we are tethered to the divine consciousness, how could we not? We have a mind. But then when we bring it into mental health, the ability to understand whether or not this mental is strong, vital, or not, we can't compare it to anything because we don't understand that the mental is connected to the God or the goddess. It is the realm of the gods, the mental. It is the realm of the spirits. Your ability to think and to ponder upon such phenomena helps you to understand how you are connected to the all because you exist. But if you think that you exist in the all in a way to whereas you can do whatever you want, well, what is your example? cosmologically. There is no, so when you read the Bible and the guys that say, all right, we're going to change that and we're going to edit that out, you intuitively know, hey, something is wrong with that. When you see people abuse power, you intuitively know, hey, something is wrong with that. Because even though you might be we know the difference between a benevolent, strong leader and an evil, cruel one. Because we should intuitively recognize and understand that in order for this to grow, in order for this to be, it existed within a system, for better or for worse. It wasn't, we could have never thrived as a family where all 5 of us was doing whatever we wanted to do. And 10 times out of 10, you live in a family like that. You got your mom had 3 brothers and two sisters, and they all just did whatever the fuck they wanted to do. How do you rein that in? You don't rein it in. You just it's something that is uncontrollable. There is no cosmological example for that. So when you are then, so bringing it back to understanding the grand trine, water sign, the emotional reset, and to bring it into a space where you're able to control and to take the reins over your life, you have to understand how this thing works. So one will say, I'm going to study God because I'm afraid of going to hell. And another person may say, I want to study God so I can understand my mind, improve my mental health, emotional health, improve my physical health, and improve my spiritual health. Because health is wealth. And I'm not just making that up. That's just not some cool shit that I'm saying. That's just the etymology of the word wealth. The word wealth comes from the word wele, which means well-being. It is originally referred to the welfare of the people and was formed on the model of health. So health is wealth. Health is wealth. Now, one would say, I want to get a lot of money, hood. I want to be rich. Well, you need mental health to do that shit. You need emotional health to be able, hood, I want to be in a relationship, hood. You need to have a strong emotional health frequency to be able to withstand the points and times where you triggered and you mad. When you say, you know what, I'm about to just leave this nigga. Everything that you want is going to be resulted through your health. But your health has a tether. You're not kept alive because you're just some special motherfucker walking the earth with some blue suede shoes on. You got an extra shimmy in your hip. You are alive because God is allowing you to be alive. You're not alive on your own recognition. We're talking about involuntary versus voluntary systems. Involuntary systems operate automatically without conscious thought, controlling functions like the heart rate. So I know what I said, it didn't digest, no pun intended, because you niggas are that arrogant. You are that arrogant. Trust me, I know. You want to talk about everything under the sun besides your heart rate, as if your heart rate stopped, the things that you're talking about is somehow going to transfer into your next life. No, it won't. You're going to have a baby brain. You're going to be at a whole different family. The shit that you're worried about right now will not matter if your heart rate drops. If you have the ability, you ever had a cramp? Like a stomach cramp? And it feel like you about to die? Why do it feel like you're about to die? Because you can't touch your stomach. It's like, when you get a stomach cramp, I'm like, oh, this is exactly how it feel to die. I know exactly how it feel because you lose control. There's nothing that you can do. You better eat some salt, balance that system out. But other than that, if your body goes against the indwelling intelligence that goes against the soul, which is tethered to God. Hood, I don't even like you. I don't fuck with you like that. Don't matter. We talking about involuntary functions. Involuntary systems operate automatically, while voluntary systems operate under conscious control, like walking and writing. You know, shit that don't matter. Moving your arms left to right and things of that nature. See, the real shit, the real shit that's really involuntary, I promise you, you don't want to fuck up. You don't want to fuck up. You want that shit to be operating in pristine health. Health is when you get old. What happens? Your health begins to fail. When your health begins to fail, you don't exist on the earth. So and the ancients understood this intimately. They understood that life was predicated on an individual's relationship to the spiritual realm, whether they were voluntarily used as, a instrument for the divine, or they were used as a soldier of the demonic army. So the moon, although it is in Taurus, when you look a little closer, you see that it is conjunct the fixed star Hasale, or Hasale, which is a part of the constellation Auriga. But this particular fixed Hasale is the heel of Auriga. All of this brought me straight to the Bible. I said the heel, I've heard that before, right? So this is the image of Auriga, and the fixed star Hasale is at the bottom right, representing the heel, while the left foot is representing the horn of Taurus. He is the Auriga, or Hasele, is a star in the left foot of the charioteer Auriga. Now you got to understand that the ancients are not putting down this story for historical context. They're trying to explain something about you in the ways for which you exist. So if you looked at your physical body, it would be more of a small miniature exemplification of a larger spiritual, mental, emotional reality. So the kingdom of heaven is within you, but the outer world is a mirror of the vastness of who you are, because you are connected to the all at a conscious level. Nobody can ever take that away from you but you. Your inability to banish the past, which holds memories of you being less than what you actually are. So you have to take some time to bear witness to the cosmos, to find points within yourself to represent who you are. And it's going to give you the formulae on how to activate and operate in your full title. So the charioteer is a representation of something that has to do with you, or else there's no reason for us to be talking about it. We're not going to look at the stars for stars' sake, because if we ever try to cross the Van Allen belt, we're going to melt to a fried frequency. But if we ever try to meditate and go outside of our body, we could be in a Riga in a matter of thought. Instantly. There is no distance between our spiritual life, our soul, and the cosmos. Our human avatar, our human hologram is only but a point of consciousness. However, we do not allow the vastness of us to permeate through the world because we refuse to meditate, which is the merging of our indwelling intelligence in our will. But at the end of the day, human beings need to be educated by their job or their college or whoever's feeding them. The time that it takes to meditate in 2025 is the time that niggas is just not going, they're not doing it. But for those who can listen, and those who can hear, and those who can see, if you want to bypass all of this bullshit, you must meditate on a daily basis. You must begin to merge your indwelling intelligence. Your conscious mind is connected to the all. You cannot allow your family and friends to gaslight you on what you should and shouldn't be doing as if they know what's best for you. And at the lowest and the highest level, they don't even know what's best for themselves. As soon as I start liking a little shorty, she gonna be showing me that she eating fucking beef tips, rib tips and shit. Like, damn, I thought you was cute. Can't even fuck with you because you would eat the back of a cow's ass just because you hungry. Hassan El Kab Dal Anin, the heel of the rain holder, a title which others gave to Gamma E Gamma Auriga, which makes the right heel of the rain holder, is now Beta Taurus El Nath, marking one of the bull's horns. The legend of Auriga represents that of Erichthonus, the son of Vulcan and the king of Athens, who was the first to devise a chariot drawn by 4 horses. So once again, a chariot drawn by 4 horses should bring you into Revelation. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. When you understand apocalypse and Revelation are inner concepts that begin to unlock, conquest, war, famine, death are not specific and literal more than they are dealing with aspects of your personality or aspects of your dormant chakras. Because the awakening of your chakras is part of the chariot. So getting into the science of the chariot is the soul. The soul is a vehicle. This vehicle is not being driven by whether or not you are a good or bad person. This chariot is being driven based upon the fact of you willing to allow your soul to take the lead, or your ego is going to take the lead. If your ego does decide to take the lead, there is no more chariot to be talking about, no more 4 horses or nothing, because we got to also remember that Origa devised a plot or a plan to devise a chariot drawn by 4 horses, which he used in order to conceal his greatly deformed feet. Right? He had goat's feet. The goat and the kids depicted in the constellation figure commemorate the goat whose upon milk Jupiter was reared together with her offspring. So to summarize, when we're discussing the heel, like if you like stand on your heel, it is a pivot point. And your heel allows you to change directions when you are walking. So cosmologically, this is a time for you to change directions in your human walk. So what we are going to experience is a reversal, a turning of fate. Hasala is the star of the heel of the cosmic chariot, the place where destiny pivots. Now, specifically, in Genesis chapter 25, verse 26, it reads as, there was a time where Rebecca, Jacob's mom, she's given birth with twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, and they named him Esau. What religious people are going to do is they're going to gaslight you into thinking that this is some actual thing that actually happened, as if it matters. How many hairy babies have been born in the history of life? Too many for us to actively care about. Studying the metaphysical components, we are trying to understand, what is this story talking about specifically, and how can relating this story into a form of consciousness help us, or help me understand what this story is talking about. After his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel, because he was grasping Esau's heel, he was named Jacob. And if you get into the science of Jacob, he eventually changes his name to Israel. But Esau came out first. So what is this specifically talking about? Metaphysically, Jacob and Esau represent the mental and animal consciousness within each of us. So it's a damn shame that people is going to be studying the Bible, talking about, well, this ain't real, this real, did Jesus exist, and miss the point altogether. Your animal conscious, your sense conscious is what you just going to think and what you just going to do because you just think you a human being. And because you're a human being hologram, and the obvious awareness is that you are not tethered to God. You're not tethered to nothing. You can essentially do whatever you want to do. You got a 1-bedroom apartment, a studio apartment. You on a dating site. You going out. You got money in your pocket. You can sleep with anybody that you want to sleep with. Where's that going to lead you? Which one of y'all is in a stable, healthy relationship because you felt that motherfucker just fucking around? Or you met him and you kept fucking around and he was like, yeah, that's cool. I'm kind of into that, you know? The more niggas you fuck, the better it is for me. Said nobody ever. So since consciousness, we got to be real about it and say what it is. The animal consciousness within us, and then separate from our mental consciousness. Because eventually led to rule Jacob through the lineage of Israel. Because the mental, when you was a young man, a young woman, and you was operating off of sense consciousness, shit never ended up right for you. But since you wasn't tethered to nothing, it almost felt like the world was against you. Through some grace, you was entered into some form of meditation and calming down, utilizing your mental brain, your mental awareness, and things would change for you to the point that I almost can guarantee you ain't even going to ever do the shit you used to do when you was 19. Even though it may have felt good, you still not about to live like that because mentally you have connected to something. You have been tethered to something that is giving you the right or wrong in reference to what you should or shouldn't do. Why you just not about to run into no nigga at the club with millions of dollars. That's why you not about to run into wholesome ass woman at the club busting it open in the middle of the dance floor. Because mentally, he or she is not tethered to anything that would even make them a suitable quality person to even be with. Most of the human family let him rule in consciousness. But in the line of human enfoldment, this man of nature, Esau, must be supplanted by a higher type of consciousness, which is called Jacob, the mentality or just for those who was thinking that in the Bible was literal. So metaphysical meaning of Jacob, the Hebrew, is simply a heel catcher, a liar in wait, a supplanter, bringing to an end, recompensing, rewarding. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the ability in the individual to connect his mental to a religious, cosmological point of view, to take over of your life, to take over your world. So your mental, that what you know you should do anyways, the indwelling intelligence will bond with your will. So you're not sitting there feeling like you need to call Tyrone. So summarizing, the full moon is conjunct the fixed star Hasele. So when the full moon aligns with the hill star Hasele, it signifies a potent cosmic moment for introspection and change. At a metaphysical level, it is when your soul is ready to take control. To whereas, hopefully, in a good way, you've allowed your ego to fuck up your life just enough to realize that you may even need a change. Because something not clicking and something is not clocking like it's supposed to be clocking. So a full moon represents culmination, illumination, and the revelation of results. It generally represents the end to a cycle or deep clarity onto why a cycle must continue. Hasale is known as the heel star. It is known as the heel of the rain holder. Hasale symbolizes the critical pivot point where destiny can change direction. And when you correlate the heel star with Jacob and Esau, right, that point of change from a metaphysical level, so we can speak in a generalized way, is allowing your mental or your understanding, which is already tethered and connected to God. All you have to do is just realize that you're already tapped into the Wi-Fi, right? You don't need a password. You just have to know that you are connected to it. So instead of scrolling on the internet for hours a day, check your screen time, you will have some time in reflection. Instead of driving around listening to music, you just will cut the music off and just sit with your thoughts. Sit in gratitude. Sit in the energy of love. Understand the energy of fear and failure and get rid of it, because this full moon is a point in time where you can change direction. So from a global scale, this direction change is allowing your mental to take over your sense consciousness. The moon and the subconscious, another way to describe this is indwelling intelligence. The moon governs our subconscious mind, which is our instincts and our hidden emotional landscapes. So the ability to meditate is also the ability to enjoy your your architecture rather. Because within you is such a vast world of exploration that most people don't even realize that they have this world, because they're so tapped into sense consciousness. That hologram of a body that you feel like is just only a body, and the fact that you're not sick is because you drink green tea, you're a vegan or some shit like that, whatever the case may be. You're alive because God wants you to be alive. If God wanted you to take you off the earth tomorrow, he would. There's nothing that you can do about it. So part of living is a part of being grateful, being aware, understanding from a mental level. And really get into this point at a mental level is what we call meditation. No way around it. So this is a cosmic turning point. This transit illuminates where the subconscious is towards a significant turning point, revealing what must be overturned, what must be replaced, and what direction must change. This astrological alignment suggests that this is a period where internal shifts lead to external redirection. Internal shifts. Now, this is one of the easiest shifts that you're ever going to make in your life. When you already know that your conscious mind is connected to the universe, to all that has ever been created, you have the ability to tap into it just because you can think it. You can meditate on it. What you can focus on it. You can focus on the reality that your mind is connected to the all. If you don't believe it, ponder on it, concentrate on it. Up until the point that you start to believe it, then once you believe it, then you start to meditate on it more. And guess what? You will then lead to external redirection, prompting us to actively engage with our evolving path. Because this is the problem when you don't meditate. This is the problem when you're doing everything that you want to do on a personal level. It's like driving a car on the road and not paying attention to the road signs. What person is so perfect that they can enter into a driving experience and say, you know what, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do? Who is that? Who is that amazing? So the Rohini Nakshatra is the star of ascent, right? This is the nakshatra of the full moon. The deity is Prajapati or Brahma. The symbol is a chariot. The planet is a moon. Rohini is the red goddess, Barbello. When we think about Gnostics, they say that the world was created by a goddess. And this goddess somehow had a baby by herself, and the baby created Earth, and all hell broke loose. Right? Because we all down here needing an instruction manual, and ain't nobody giving us an instruction manual, and the only thing that niggas is telling us is that we need a job. One's in the chat if your mom and dad told you when you was having a tough time that you need to go find a job. One's in the chat if a nigga had told you one time you was looking for answers in life and they told you, yo, nigga, you need a job. That's your problem. One's in the chat if you ever heard that. I know every time I was going through something in my life, niggas had nothing to say to me besides, nigga, you just need a job. Just get a job, nigga. And I would hope that y'all would look up Rohini, the Rohini Nakshatra. It's a lot of art and a lot of interpretations of Rohini being on top of a bull. So in the Hindus' mindset, they didn't see Aurega, they seen Rohini as being the charioteer, because her symbol was the chariot, just like Auriga was the charioteer. So what I'm also saying is that when they was creating the Bible, you thought that they didn't know nothing about this, that they was just coming off the hip with this shit, or was they just reinterpreting cosmologicals? Right? I'm going to show you how to make it, and I'm going to just give you, I'm not going to show you how to make it, I'm going to just give you all the parts. And hopefully, you will figure it out. But I'm not just going to lay it out for you. And for me, it's like, cool. I'm grateful that you just didn't just throw it away, because my mental, I study the Bible a great deal. So the reason I studied the Bible a great deal, and I'm glad that I did, because it's easy for me to connect the dots between what religion is trying to say. So let's get to the bare bones of this, right? Since Rohini is Auriga, which is the charioteer, this is representing your higher self. your indwelling intelligence, your soul. The driver, your Budai, Mercury, and Scorpio, is your intellect. So you gotta also disconnect your intellect from your higher self. You have to disconnect your intellect from your mind. Because like I said earlier, the horses are just part of your personality. Now imagine, and when you talk about people, right, the problem with people is that they are their personality. You talk to a nigga right now and he got a good job, how long is it going to take for him to tell you that he got a good job? I know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. How long is it going to take for you going on a date with a damn doctor? That nigga going to tell you, yeah, I'm a doctor. Yeah, went to school for 8 years. Nothing really. Wrote my dissertation on black kids making it out the ghetto. Got a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, I didn't win it, but it got nominated. I went to Europe. Yeah, man, I shook the president's hand one time, man. It's amazing. I didn't wash my hand for 4 days. Like, people are their personality. So in this layout, when somebody is trying to explain themselves from their personality, do you see how far they are from the actual truth of who they are? The horses is nowhere near connected to nothing. The horses is just doing whatever the higher self tells them to do. So the invisible, the dweller on the threshold, is your ability to perceive all of this within you. You should be able to see your personality. You should be able to see how your mind works. You should be able to understand your intellect and your will, what you will or won't do, right? So you may not know what you're going to do the next day, but you're going to say, whatever my meditation tells me to do, I'm going to follow it to the T. Even if it just tells me to put my left foot in front of my right foot, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. That is your will. Your higher self is the part of you that is already in control of your involuntary functions. It's keeping your heart beating. It's keeping you alive to act out its higher purpose. But you have to be so smart to understand that all of this is playing out. Don't get so caught up in the horses. The horses is Esau, the animal, the animal part of you. And this is the part that's in the lead. Everything you've known about yourself has been a part of your animal consciousness. But if you ever is going to rein back them horses, if you ever want to come into a turning point, we got to start having conversations based upon truth, y'all. I don't got no course to sell you. I don't got no book to sell you. I don't got shit to sell you. I'm trying to get us on the same page that we can begin to look at this diagram and say, damn, that makes sense. No pun intended. So the tarot card of the full moon is the 7 of discs, failure. And what this is showing is a husband and a wife. The husband is in the background in all black, representing Saturn. And the woman is in the foreground in all wet. She probably is wet, right? She's in all white, and she's reading a letter from her ex-boyfriend. And she's utilizing this to be, turned on, for a lack of better words. And he's seeing her. She don't know that he sees her. So this whole situation represents a failure in the marriage, the failure in the ability to be, a man in a relationship with a woman and have the inability to please. And at a certain point, failure, because it's nothing that can be done. So when you look at the seven of discs, the overall theme of the seven of discs is that of failure. And I'm saying all of this to say nobody really want to deal with the concept of failure. But hopefully, with everything that have been brought to the surface in reference to what needs to fail, which is your animal mind, which is the weeds. Saturn has an important role in vegetation and agriculture, right? The scythe is important in agriculture for harvesting crops and hay, as well for maintaining grasslands. Historically, it was essential before mechanization, allowing a single person to cut acres of crops per day. So a scythe is the tool that you would see on the death card, the Dark Tarot deck, which is ruled by Scorpio, which the sun is at. So this figure, this skeleton, is holding a scythe. And when you think about agriculture, it's basically clearing the field or the farm, which is necessary for what? For new crops to grow. In order for things to change in your garden, you have to get rid of all of the old vegetation. That is the purpose of the scythe. That is the purpose of Saturn. So failure is just the end of a season harvest ritual that is just necessary for growth. The issue is when we're trying to hold in the dead, and mainly talking about relationships, mentalities, mindsets, perceptions, outlooks. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't understand how none of this shit works. And we going out every day with full ego. Well, at a certain point, you would have to kill that understanding. And of course, easier said than done. But what do you do on a daily basis? Corinthians chapter 15, verse 31 says that I protest by your rejoicing, which I have in Christ Jesus, our Lord. I die daily, right? I fail daily, right? Meaning that I'm not allowing the animal mind to win or to succeed. I'm purposefully and actively bringing him into failure. through the mode of meditation. So the question is, did you meditate today? Right? Did you fail? When you look up the etymology of failure, it means to bring to an end. And from a spiritualist point of view, if we're going to understand Jacob and Esau and Ariga and Rohini, we are also understanding a point of change. And what are we going to change? Are we going to change presidents? Are we going to change countries? Are we going to change cities? Are we going to change boyfriends, girlfriends? Are we going to change colleges? Or are we going to change the fact is our animal mind not being the ruler of our consciousness, allowing our natural, spiritual, mental mind, the hill catcher, right? The one that is going to catch Esau and put Esau behind him and become a Jew, a jewel, a pearl, a crystal through a process. So we are serious about activating our consciousness. We're serious about doing this work. We're serious about our studies and our meditation, and we're taking this thing one day at a time. We are observing the constellations. We're observing the full moons and the new moon, and we're making it make sense. So if you're on this journey with me, I mean, you at the right spot. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm just trying to be as clear, as succinct, because I've talked about this stuff for years. But it's like I could only. It's not like I'm going deeper or I'm becoming more advanced. I'm just coming more basic with it in a way that is intriguing to me. The way that it's easy for me to connect dots. Whatever I try to put my mind to, I'm able to make sense of it. So, and I don't think that I'm making sense of it personally. I think that I'm just in this path, right? And this is something that I must do. So, with all of that being said, support this channel via Cash App, $ Hood Mystic 38. Appreciate all the donations, all of the support. Check out the website. It's the weekend, so White Rabbit Psych throwing our weekly 25% off sale. So make sure you join the email list and check out my blog, hoodmystic.com. Did you meditate today? I'm going to post on there regularly, and my Substack, of course. I'm getting into meditation at a scholarly level, and I just want to be able to communicate it in a way where we all can come to the same level that is important, and hopefully we can all meditate together at the same time, because that is the way that we're going to change the world, right? We're going to change the world from the inside out. It's a level of purification. I can't charge. I can't scam you into it. It's got to be a real process of, like Chris Tucker say, you just got to understand the words that's coming out of my mouth, right? When I say that your mind is connected to God, connected to the all, I'm not skipping over you to get to her. I'm speaking directly to you. And you personally have to understand it, and you personally have to do the work. And that's how we connect, because we did the work on our own personal time, not because I made you pay $1,000 for a course and now you enlightened. You should be able, you got to get to this level without money, without the internet, without nothing. You have to do this work. You have to like, the call for the day is activation, right? And I'm gonna do my part, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, you do yours, right? That being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope it was clear for you. I hope it made sense. I hope it empowered you to really celebrate this full moon. and come out on the other side, you know, I can't explain it because we're taking this thing one day at a time, you know. But at the same time, make sure you meditate on a daily basis. With all that being said, man, this has been Full Moon in Taurus 2025, December 4th, 2025. And I will catch y'all all on the flip side. I do have chapter 4. I've already had the outline already ready. I'm just trying to find the time, man. Brother been so goddamn on busy. But as soon as I get the time, I'll be doing chapter 4, The Science of Getting Rich. And I will be dropping other blog posts on Did You Meditate Today? All right, so stay tuned, stay tapped in, stay engaged. And I'll catch y'all all on the flip side. Peace.
How you feel?
Feel good.
Test this out. Now keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about bullshit.
How you walking in the future, but still forget your past. You looking for material, but that shit never lies. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future, but still don't know your past. Why you always in fatigue? Cause I'm a one-man army. My blood don't bleed, and these devils never harm me. I know the magnitude, so I live in gratitude. Negativity has no gravity. Wanna write me out existence. They wanna dilute my blood, strip me of my innocence, because they know who I was. Cognitive dissonance, send this message through with love, cause I am the remnant. The ancestors knew I'd come. How you walking in the future, but still forget your past. You looking for material, but that shit never lies. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future, but still don't know your past. Little boy in Ohio, smells of the fresh cut grass. Lord know what I know, secrets of an ancient past. Descendants of the mound builders, they make sure that you didn't know that. Tried to say you were native, ooh, but you the ones that made it. Wanna write you out existence. They wanna dilute your blood, strip you of your innocence, because they know who you were. Cognitive dissonance, send this message through with love, cause we are the remnants. The ancestors knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. They knew we'd come. Oh yeah. How you walking in the future, but still forget your past. You looking for material, but that shit never lies. Do you even know the real you? They can only see you through a mask. You was walking in the future,